Welcome to Milwaukee, where the Utah Jazz fall tonight to the Milwaukee Bucks 109-108 in overtime. It was a pretty darn good game. I mean, I think that's the first part of this. Is if this is entertainment, and I know we passionately love our squad, and you're probably tuning into this and you're like, this isn't entertainment. But from an entertainment standpoint, this was about as good a game as you could get, and from an experience for the guys, I mean, we closed with Cantor, Burks, and Hayward, and Damari for a first time. These were new experiences. The problem is you're in a playoff run, and you fell short in a game that you had. You had lost this game. You came back and won it, and then you lost it again.
Sloppy at first, but then it got very entertaining because of the big shots that were made, the plays that the Jazz were able to make to get back into the ball game, outscoring the Bucks 34-24 there in that fourth quarter. It got very, very exciting. Both teams made mistakes that probably would have cost either the game. The Jazz made the bigger mistakes and ended up losing this, but yeah, it was very entertaining.
Well, do we start with the positives or do we start with the mistakes?
Well, I think positive is always
all right.
good.
Well, yeah. But that means we end with the negatives.
Yeah. Well, okay.
I'd rather go to the mistakes and then we can close with the positives.
Yeah, let's do it that way.
Because if we end with the negatives tonight, people could jump off cliffs and stuff. That'd be bad. All right, so the negatives, the defense really, the third quarter again was a major problem.
Yeah, 30-17.
And the defense fell apart, and Watson scoreless, Foy scoreless, and Marvin scoreless. How are you even in a game when you start three guys that don't score?
Marvin is really, really struggling. I mean, he had 0 for 5. He had 2 rebounds, and he is getting like open looks that he's not making right now. And I'm watching warm up before ball games. He's very conscious of it. It looks like I think he's very happy if he makes one right now because he's trying to get on track. And I know he's working very, very hard, but he's just not giving the Jazz anything here if he's not scoring. He can rebound the basketball, and I think he can play some pretty good defense. But at that position, and for years at that position, you get good looks. You need to make those.
It's not an easy position to play in our system, but you're going to get those looks. I mean, Brian Russell, David Benoit, Blue Edwards run through it. Yeah. It's always been a tough position to play, but he is not clearly is not figured out. Now, I am going to try to play a little psychological mojo on Marvin here at some point. I got to find a way for Marvin to find this little note out. He's not on Twitter. I don't know how we're going to tell him. But when Mo Williams was in the lineup, Marvin Williams averaged 10 points a game and shot 47%. Since Mo Williams has gotten hurt, Marvin shot 34% and averaged 5 points a game, and Mo is kind of expected back. I mean, I think it would be a surprise if this. I asked Mo today, would you be surprised if he played Wednesday? He said no, and I know Mo has told other people here in Milwaukee today that he's playing Wednesday. So I think I would be surprised at this point if Mo didn't play Wednesday.
Well, I'm expecting him to play after the conversation I had with him before the Charlotte Bobcats game, that he was going to play on this trip, and he thought it might probably be the second game, which would end up being in Cleveland. He did tell me that right hand has just as much strength in it as his left now. He said that they were both at 60, he said that I'm about 85 to 90% sure that I'll be playing.
So that would be a positive for Mo. Randy hopefully will get positive out of that, though. There's some problems with this. I mean, the Mo-Randy lineup, we can get into all that, where they just didn't rebound at all. It didn't work earlier this year. We'll see what happens. And Alec Burks was really brilliant today as the backup point guard. I'm sure he has solidified that position. He was as good running that position. He made some mistakes. There's still some things. He was loose with a possession or two. He's not perfect yet, but he has really grown into that nicely and played that very well.
Well, he's starting to play under control, I think, and that I thought he was going to develop because he was working very hard at it. Running a basketball team and being a point guard is something that I think we're seeing the progress from, say, 3 or 4 weeks ago. We'll say 4 weeks ago, that he's very comfortable doing it now. He just needs to make point guard plays, point guard passes, making sure that your post passes are on line and on target.
6 turnovers is an awful lot.
Yeah.
In 35 minutes for a point guard. He's going to continue doing this. That's got to come down, but I think that's experience. All right, here's the litany of mistakes late in the game. And some of them are mistakes, some of them just happen. Paul Millsap's at the line in the 99-96 game with a chance to win it, and he makes 98-96 game. He makes the first to make it 99-96. He misses the second. truthfully, a 75% free throw shooter that Paul Millsap is, more often than not, will split free throws, not make them both. But that was a chance right there to win the basketball game, and you would like to believe you're going to do that. And on the next possession, Alec Burks gives just in a 3-point game with 8 seconds or 12 seconds left, he just seems to be protecting into the drive more than he should be. Just that's probably first-time experience. He just hasn't worked this way all the way through it. He's kind of in his regular defense. Jennings has been driving on him, had a huge third quarter on him, and a decent fourth quarter, and you're just kind of, you haven't maybe made that next switch to what's time and score and everything that's going on. Okay, if he drives on me, it's not great, but it's not the end of the world. Right. And he gives up a 3 by Jennings, though, frankly, probably Jennings was 4 or 5 from 3 tonight. There, you're probably protecting against Ilyasova or Redick, but Jennings gets that one there. Then Gordon drives the basket, and you thought he could have probably done more to draw the foul in that circumstance.
Absolutely. I mean, this is the time when, with the clock running down there, that you don't try to shoot up and around and over players like that. You go in strong, and this team blocks shots. How many they blocked tonight? 10. You had 10 shots. But you must take the ball to the basket strong and force them to make that play. I mean, you get to the free throw line, and if they block the shot, they just made a great play. But at least you're trying to make some things happen.
Again, experience. Then in overtime, Tamari Carroll gambles, leaves J.J. Redick wide open for 3. I mean, it was so stunning that J.J. Redick was on the right wing, wide open for 3. Damari was the furthest player on the left side of the floor for the Utah Jazz. I mean, he gambled big on trying to get a steal from Monte Ellis. I mean, this is too bad. You can't do that again. Then later, Damari goes to the free throw line. It's the first time in his NBA career he's ever shot a free throw in a final, 2 minutes of a game that's close. Yeah. I mean, he just hasn't done this before. And they let J.J. Redick get free on another one late, and they make a lot of plays. 109, 108. Now the positives, Derek Favors was unbelievable early in this game. He missed a lot of shots at the rim and got himself some rebounds, padded his stats a little bit, but I don't care. He was really terrific. He finishes with 23 points and 15 rebounds tonight.
Well, 15 of those points coming in the first quarter. And, just a monster night. I mean, he really just handled, I thought, Sanders tremendously in the basketball game. He had 15 rebounds, 7 of those coming on the offensive glass. And I think him and Cantor right now are just rebounding the basketball just off the charts.
A little surprising. I don't know when I would have made the sub, so I don't know. I say surprising. I don't know when that move gets made, but Enes Kanter, who was kind of probably on the shortest leash of anyone on this roster, suddenly finished the night. And finished the final 17 minutes of the night instead of Derek Favors tonight. Were you surprised by that? And I don't know when. I mean, he played very well. He had 8 points and 5 rebounds in the fourth quarter. I'm not sure Derek would have done a better job. I just think it's a little eye-opening that all of a sudden Kanter got the minutes instead of Favors.
Well, obviously it was something that Coach Corbin saw that, he wanted to run with those guys. I mean, he didn't make a substitution in the fourth quarter and didn't make a substitution in overtime until he brought Randy Foye in for a decoy or a possible 3-point shot attempt. So he saw something that he liked with that lineup he had out there on the floor. It didn't necessarily have to just mean Cantor, but he saw something with that lineup. Now, Cantor's last 2 ball games obviously has been playing very, very well, and rebounding and points in the paint, and those type of second chance points down in the paint were very, very huge for the Jazz tonight. And I don't know, Coach Corbin just rode with it. I mean, we haven't seen him do that all season long, but he did it tonight.
The big picture tonight, it was a pretty good performance by the Jazz. Milwaukee's won 3 in a row. We're not very good on the road. We played better on the road than we generally have for much of the year. The ball moved pretty well. I thought it was a pretty, I'm a numbers guy, so 109, 108 means the ball bounced the wrong way for you somewhere along the way, right? Yeah. You really pretty much played right with Milwaukee on the road. Without Al Jefferson, I think that's a pretty good night for this team.
Well, there's a lot of positives I'm sure you can take out of this basketball game, but the coaches are going to look at the mistakes, especially the mistakes that you made or that were drawn up for you in a timeout or something like that. Though usually those are the plays that coaches focus in on when you don't get the job done. But the Jazz, 3 more road games on this trip, David, and hopefully they can win at least 2. We talked about 2 being able to survive, and maybe they can still get two.
Cleveland's a big one.
Yeah, Cleveland is huge.
Cleveland's a big one. All right, that is an extended postcast. We had to kind of talk it out.
Yeah.
We had to kind of figure out how to before we got on the bus, we had to emotionally deal with it. See you.